Most people think that when they sleep, everything shuts down. But what if I told you that sleep is not an escape, but a portal? That every single night, without even knowing, you leave this world. You cross dimensions. You travel far beyond your body. And the truth, 99% of people have no idea it's happening. So what happens when the body sleeps, but the mind remains awake?
When your body falls asleep, you think everything turns off, but that's not entirely true. Your muscles rest, your heart rate slows down, and your eyes close. Yet something remarkable continues. Your mind stays active. In fact, studies in neuroscience reveal that your brain can become even more active during sleep than when you're awake. Why? Because while your body powers down, your consciousness is just beginning its journey. This journey doesn't take place in the physical world, but in inner realms, subtle layers of perception that modern science is only starting to explore. In deep sleep stages, your brain enters a frequency that's similar to what monks reach in deep meditation. And during REM sleep, when most vivid dreams happen, your mind creates entire realities that feel just as real as waking life. But if dreams are only chemical illusions, how do some people report experiences outside their body? How do they describe places they've never seen, events they couldn't possibly know? The answer may lie in what happens when your consciousness temporarily detaches from the body, opening doors to dimensions far beyond ordinary sight. And the truth is, this happens every night, whether you remember it or not. But what exactly happens when your consciousness detaches from the body? You don't just drift into darkness. Instead, you enter a different state of reality, one that operates under an entirely different set of rules. This shift begins in a mysterious zone known as the hypnagogic state, the bridge between wakefulness and sleep. In this state, your brain shifts from beta waves to alpha, theta, and sometimes even delta, frequencies associated with deep meditation, trance, and altered states of consciousness. It's here that the veil between dimensions begins to thin. You might see floating images, hear whispers, feel vibrations, or even sense yourself falling or floating. These are not hallucinations. They are the first signs that your awareness is loosening from the constraints of the physical body. And as you move deeper into sleep, especially during REM, your consciousness begins to drift, no longer confined to linear time or fixed space. In this altered reality, dreams are not just random memory replays. They are interactive landscapes shaped by your thoughts, emotions, and frequency. Ancient mystics believed this was the moment when the soul traveled to gather insight, receive messages, or even visit other planes. And modern research supports this too. The Monroe Institute, for example, has documented countless cases where people enter these states and report vivid experiences beyond physical limits. So when you fall asleep, you're not shutting off. You're tuning in to a realm that exists alongside this one. And the deeper you go, the more real it becomes. But if all of this is true, why do so few people ever notice it's happening? Most people think dreams are just stories your brain tells itself, but sometimes something different happens. You become aware inside the dream. You realize you're dreaming, and suddenly you're not just watching the dream, you're in it. This is known as a lucid dream, but it goes even deeper. Some people report floating above their own bodies, looking down at themselves, sleeping. They pass through walls, visit distant places, and meet other beings. These are called out-of-body experiences, or what ancient traditions have long called astral projection. And here's the truth. This isn't fringe. It's been studied. Dr. Charles Tart and the Monroe Institute have conducted decades of research on consciousness outside the body. In controlled conditions, individuals have accurately described distant locations they had never visited. Robert Monroe himself documented hundreds of journeys through non-physical realms, realms that follow different laws of time, space, and thought. And many of these experiences begin the same way. During sleep, the body lies still, but the mind drifts into a lucid state. Suddenly, you're no longer inside the limits of your brain. You're in a place where intention moves you, where thoughts shape environments instantly, and you feel it. An overwhelming sense of freedom, weightlessness, and expanded perception. You're not watching a dream. You are the explorer. You are the traveler. But despite how powerful and vivid these experiences are, most people wake up and forget them instantly. Or worse, dismiss them as just a dream. Why? Because we've been taught that only what can be measured is real, that what happens in sleep is meaningless. But what if that's the greatest lie of all? What if you've been traveling dimensions your whole life, but society taught you to forget? So why don't we remember these extraordinary journeys? Why do most people wake up with no memory of the places they've been? Or worse, believe it was all just imagination? The answer lies in how we've been conditioned. From childhood, we're taught that dreams aren't real, that anything which can't be measured, touched, or seen with the physical eye doesn't exist. We're trained to trust only what fits into the framework of the waking world. And as a result, we ignore the inner landscapes we travel every night. But here's the truth. You were never meant to forget. Ancient civilizations treated dreams with reverence. In Egypt, dreams were seen as messages from the gods. In Tibet, monks trained to become lucid in sleep, using the dream state as a form of spiritual practice. Even in Western mystery schools, the dream world was viewed as a gateway to higher knowledge. But in modern society, we've lost that connection. Instead, we go to bed exhausted, distracted, and emotionally overwhelmed. We pass out, unaware, unintentional, and completely disconnected. No wonder we don't remember, because like a traveler with no map, we enter the night blind. And yet, some people do remember. Some people wake up from dreams with messages. Some return from sleep with clarity, visions, even knowledge they never studied. What's the difference? It's not luck, it's intention. It's the emotional and energetic state you bring with you before you fall asleep. Because the truth is, your destination every night is not random. Your frequency decides where your consciousness goes. And emotion, that's the map. The key to every realm you visit begins with the energy you carry when you close your eyes. Every emotion you feel before sleep becomes a coordinate, a frequency, a signal that guides your consciousness to specific realms. Fear, anxiety, guilt, these are low vibrations. And when you fall asleep carrying them, you may enter dense, chaotic dreamscapes. Realms where confusion reigns, where the astral feels heavy and thick. But if you go to sleep with clarity, love, or even curiosity, your frequency rises, and with that rise, your access shifts. You begin to reach lighter dimensions, places of beauty, insight, and even contact with higher beings. This isn't just mystical poetry, it's energetic law. Everything in the universe vibrates. Every thought, every feeling, every memory emits a frequency. And your consciousness, it moves through frequencies like a radio dial. You don't need to force anything. You only need to tune yourself. That's why your emotional state before bed matters more than most people realize. If you fall asleep angry, you'll likely experience agitated, confusing dreams. But if you fall asleep in stillness with intention, you may enter planes of profound clarity. Ancient teachings have always emphasized this. In Hermeticism, it's said, "As within, so without. As above, so below." Your inner vibration mirrors the world you enter, and this is not theory, it's something you can feel. People who practice lucid dreaming, astral projection, or dream yoga often report that their dreamscapes change drastically depending on their emotional state before sleep. You might be surprised how often your bad dreams were simply energetic reflections, not warnings, but mirrors. The good news? This means you have the power to navigate, to steer, to choose where you go every night. But how? How can you consciously open the gateway between waking and sleep and keep awareness as you cross through? The answer begins in a moment most people overlook, the few minutes just before you fall asleep. There's a moment just before sleep takes over when something magical happens. Your body feels heavy, your thoughts start to blur. You might see flickers of images, hear sounds that aren't there, or feel your body vibrating. This is not a dream, it's the hypnagogic state, the gateway between waking and sleeping. And in this moment, your brain is shifting frequencies from busy beta waves to calm alpha, then into deeper theta. Theta is the frequency of meditation, intuition, and altered consciousness. And in that space, the boundaries between dimensions begin to dissolve. Mystics call this the twilight gate. Scientists call it a transitional brain state, but either way, it is a doorway, and it's one most people sleepwalk right through. But you don't have to. In this space, you are most open, most receptive to guidance, intention, and even travel. This is the moment when suggestions sink deep into the subconscious. It's also when spontaneous, out-of-body experiences often begin. Ancient mystery schools knew this well. Pythagoras taught that the moments before sleep were sacred. Egyptian initiates trained to enter this state consciously. Even modern inventors like Edison and Tesla used this zone to retrieve ideas from deeper realms. It's not fantasy, it's frequency. And if you learn to recognize this threshold, you can begin to shape what happens next. But how do you stay aware while the body drifts into sleep? How do you carry intention across the veil without losing it in unconsciousness? The answer lies in simple but powerful practices that reconnect you with your inner traveler. The answer is yes. You can train your mind to stay aware. You can remember where you've been. And you can begin this transformation with just a few simple practices. First, set an intention. Before you fall asleep, tell yourself, I want to remember what I experienced tonight. This one sentence, repeated with sincerity, can open doors. Why? Because your subconscious listens. It responds to repetition. Second, keep a dream journal. The moment you wake up, before checking your phone, before even moving too much, write down anything you remember, even fragments. Over time, your mind will learn. These experiences matter, and it will give you more. Third, practice mindfulness before sleep. Slow your breath. Focus on the feeling of your body. Let go of the day and welcome the night with presence. When your body sleeps consciously, the mind becomes a witness. Fourth, use affirmations. Ancient traditions and modern dreamers alike use phrases like, "Tonight I will remain aware," or "I will wake up inside the dream." These aren't just words, they are keys, codes that help carry your awareness across the veil. And finally, protect your energy, cleanse your space. Avoid heavy food, emotional drama, or chaotic media right before sleep. The quality of your inner environment affects the clarity of your inner journeys. And when you apply these techniques, something shifts. The dreams become clearer, the visions feel real. And one night, without warning, you'll realize you're not dreaming anymore. You're somewhere else. But what is that place? Is it just a dream, or something far more real than we've been led to believe? Most people think of dimensions as distant places, parallel worlds far away from here. But that's not entirely accurate, because dimensions aren't defined by space, they're defined by vibration, by perception, by consciousness. What if the different realms you visit in dreams aren't somewhere else, but simply different layers of reality existing right here, just vibrating at frequencies your waking senses can't detect? Hermetic teachings have long said, all is mind, the universe is mental. This means your state of consciousness determines the world you perceive. In the astral, this becomes obvious. If you're afraid, you enter a dense, chaotic layer. If you're calm, you float into realms of peace and beauty. And if you carry intention, you find clarity, messages, and even guidance. Dimensions are not just where you go. They are who you are when you arrive. Some people visit luminous cities, encounter spirit guides, or experience knowledge beyond their education. Others drift through fog, lost in looping dreams. The only difference? Frequency. Like a radio, you tune your reality. That's why two people sleeping side by side can enter completely different realms. It's not random, it's resonance. And here's the beautiful truth. You don't need to leave your body to shift dimensions. You shift them every time you shift your consciousness. Every thought, every emotion, every dream is a doorway. So next time you sleep, remember, you're not escaping this world. You're stepping into a different version of it, one shaped entirely by the vibration you carry. And perhaps, just perhaps, that world is even more real than this one.
Every night, as your body lies still, your consciousness travels. You pass through gateways unseen. You shift through dimensions shaped by thought, emotion, and intention. And even if you don't remember, it's still happening. You're not just dreaming, you're exploring, learning, expanding. So the next time you close your eyes, ask yourself, where am I going tonight? Because you're never just sleeping. You are a traveler of unseen worlds. And now, you have the map. If you've ever had a dream so vivid, it felt more real than life, share it in the comments. Your story might help someone else remember theirs. And if you want to go even deeper into cities of light, shared dreams, and higher astral realms, let us know. There's far more to uncover. Subscribe and open the next door in your journey. The hidden truths are just beginning to unfold.